Hello and welcome back. This is Richie Swift playing on Sky Poker, another W Money tournament, and this one it's higher stakes than what I normally play. This one is £15 plus £1.50 NT, so it's £16.50. Now it's a W your money tournament, so if you finish in the top three, you'll double your money. So I walk away £15 up. Now as I do these videos, we'll talk you through strategy and tactics, and hopefully you'll enjoy it and watch the game unfold. So let's just have a look around the table. I always sit in the bottom left there. We have Boonicon, Alicante, SJ Spanky, Mudshark and Muga. So I don't recognise any of these players. Sometimes you play these games enough, you come up against the same opponents, and you know, if you do, then you might get familiar with how they play, and it all helps. But do be warned, you know, players do change their tactics. So when you play these games, as I always say, it's all about decision making, chip stacks, making decisions. You know, what hand have I got? How much should I bet? Can I afford to call? Should I re-raise or should I fold? And so it's decision making. It's looking at your chip stack, looking at your opponent's chip stack, thinking how strong you are, how strong you think they are, making a decision. So let's have a look here. So Queen Ace suited, lovely starting hand. Raise it. As I've always said, you get dealt a good starting hand, raise pre-flop. So Muga, he calls me. I've got a pair of queens, top pair. Follow it up with a bet. 60 chips. So as you start, yeah, he's not interested in that. So as you start, the blinds are 10 and 20 chips, and the blinds go up every 5 minutes. And you know, that speeds the game up, and you know, it puts more pressure on players in the latter stages of the game. Ace 5, let's have a look. So I'm on the button here. I'll check it, I'm up against one opponent. I need a 3 for a straight. Check, let's see what Alicante does. Puts in a bet. Now he's only bet 20 chips. I'm going to pay 20 chips to see if I get my 3. I think. Another 20 chips. So he's putting in these small bets. You know, look at my chip stack. I can easily afford to see the next card. But I'm not going to pay 130 because I know I'm beaten there. I've only got ace high. You know, just a little tip. You've watched the other videos. You're putting in bets. You don't want your opponent to call and see a next card cheaply, or you might want him to call, depending if you want to re-raise him following that up. So, well, let's have a look here. So Jack 10 suited. Bang, hit the flush. I'm going to check it. Let's have a look what Muga does. He's checked it. Now I've got, but I'm still got the flush is the best hand. So I'm going to check it again. I want some action here from Muga, so I can re-raise and go over the top. Now a nice £140 bet. Now, lovely. Let's re-raise it, but not too high. 340, enough so he probably call. He's called. Okay, now I'm going to put in a. Now I know he's called me. It's time now to put in a bet not too high that you're going to fold. 800 chips should do it, and he's called. And straight away, I won a lovely pot, and I'm now the chip leader very early in the tournament. Muga there, he's down to 730 chips. So he's lost to my flush there. But I play, you know, this is the way to play poker. You know, I hit the flush straight away. You know, I want some action from my opponent. I don't want to give away that I've got the nuts. Well, not necessarily the nuts if you've got the ace when you've got a flush. So I had the best hand. I was pretty confident about that. You know, check it, because you know, you put in a bet, you're giving away that you've got a good hand and you can scare the other opponent off. So this is tactics. You know, this is why most of the time I check, hope to get some action from the other player, They bet, I then re-raise. You know, you play it slow, you know, hoping to get some action, and then hoping to re-raise, building that pot up, and then, you know, you ask the question, how much should I re-raise? There's always that danger, not necessarily danger, but you know, you bet too much, you re-raise too much, you could scare the opponent off. So I thought, you know, he called for 300 odd chips, so 800 odd, good chance he could call it again. So we're well away now. Let's have a look with a king 10 suited. That's always a good hand. Possibly should have raised it there, but I can, you know, it's going to limp in. Mud Shark's called it. Now I've got him a pair of 10s. And he's putting a reasonable sized bet. Yeah, what's he got? You know, has he got better than a king kicker? Is he on a flush draw? Is he even got straight? You know, so, you know, you ask them questions. A straight's beating me, a flush draw's dangerous, I've only got a pair of 10s for king kicker. Get away. Because possibly beat, and you know, as I've said before, look after your chip stack. Don't go wasting chips. If you think you're beaten, fold. Get out of the hand. Protect your own chip stack. You know, make the decisions. Think about it. And I say think about it. You can see the green circle that goes around the player. That's their time limit. So you only have a set time limit to think about it. But you know, if you're an experienced poker player, you can make decisions pretty quickly. So yeah, I didn't feel like calling there for the pair of 10s. I didn't feel I needed to. So let's have a look and see how this trouble. As you can see, you know, got 6. You know, because I took a big chip stack off of him, big part of his chip stack. Now, if you're in that position now, you want to be doubling up as soon as possible. Any good hand now, you don't want to be putting in £100, 150 chip bets or re-raises, or 200 chip bets when you've got 600. You know, you want to be pushing all your chips in. You know, I've said it before. So you know, if I'm in the hand here and Booney Con is raised and I've got 600 odd chips and I've got a good hand, I'm putting all my chips in. You know, that's the way I believe you should play it when you've got a low chip stack. So Booney Con against Alicante, what's he going to do? Puts in a big bet there, so he's looking pretty confident. Alicante seeing none of it. You know, so that's quite a big bet to call. You know, he's asking the question: is it worth paying 200 odd chips to see the next card, to call his bet? Have I got a good enough hand to, you know, to re-raise? And he's obviously thought no, so he's folded and he's got out while he can. You know, as we see this game unfold, you know, Alicante, he does make some good decisions. Mud Shark's pretty good. SJ Spanky, I suppose. Funny name, but yeah, he plays it a little bit loose. So let's have a look. You know, I sucked Mooger in there. You know, he's desperate now. But this is, you know, that was, you know, I got lucky early on, and but I played the hand, so I tried to get the maximum return. You know, and that's the idea. So 3 ace suited, spades. That's worth a raise pre-flop. I'm against Mud Shark. What's he going to do? It's only 30 extra chips to call my raise. He's re-raised it. Okay, it's going to another 30 chips for me to see the flop. Not expensive. I'll see that all day. Bang! Hit another flush. So you can see I'm off to a great start here. Now look, he's bet it. So what's he got? The straight. I'm not going to re-raise. I'm going to let him think he's strong. I'm going to call. Now I'm worried here. Now do remember, a full house does beat a flush. But I'm going to ask a question. Now 330, that's more than what he bet. So let's ask him a question. Do you have the full house? Are you going to call? Nope. So nice little chip stack. Nice little win there. Nice little pot. Big slick. Raise it up. You know, there's a lot of luck in poker, no question about it. You can see I'm getting dealt good hands, but it's how you play them. You get dealt a good hand. How do you play it? And I'm hoping Muga's going to push all his chips in here, because if he pushes all his chips in, I couldn't call fast enough with my ace king. So, are you going to push them all in? Nope. So I've hit my aces. My chart's checked it. I'm going to have a bet. You hit your aces, you bet. Yeah, get up against one player. Now he's called it. So what you got? Have you got a pair of aces? Maybe you got two pair? No, I think I'm strong. I don't believe you, so I'm going to put in a bigger bet. And I was right, he didn't have anything. And I scared him off there, so I'll take down another reasonable sized pot. So this is very, very good this happens early on, when you build up a chip stack early on in the tournament, because the blinds are low and you've got a big chip stack. You can just put your feet up and relax, because you're not under any pressure. You're under the least amount of pressure. The higher your chip stack, the lower the blinds, the less pressure you're under. And the reverse, when you've got a low chip stack and big blinds, you're in trouble. So ace 10, another good hand. You're going to push. You're going to push. If you are, I'm calling you. Nope. Okay, I'm up against one player, so I'll raise it. Boony con, what are you going to do? Okay, you're going to call me. I've hit my aces, but there is queens and there is a flush draw. Still, ask a bet. I can afford a £100 bet. And he's got out of the hand. Now the thing is, you're going up against one player. If I was going up against 2 or 3 players, there's more of a chance of one of the other players having a flush or having a queen. So that's why I say, if you're up against just one player, always bet it. If they call you or re-raise, then you can make a decision. What do you do? Do you think hand's good enough or not? So queens and aces, and I can't bet it. Spanky's called. Now he's betting 50. He's bet 50 again. I don't like this. He's silly little £50 bets. That's more like it. Spanky's putting a reasonable slope. Alicat thinks he's strong, so he's called him. He's not strong enough. And there you are, you see. When the river come up, they both hit their flush. And Spanky had him spanked with the nut flush. Alicant wasn't to know that. But he's putting in these little £50 bets, because he wants to try and hit his flush. Now he's realised he's being called, and then Spanky bets. Alicant re-raises. Decision making. He lost a lot of chips there. Perhaps he should have just called and seen what the other guy had. So he's doing the right thing. He's pushing. Like I said, you've got to push. He's got 500 odd chips, and there you are. You see, he's hit his straight. He's up against 10 ace, but he's hit his straight, and he's back in a game of 1,000 odd chips. So that's why I say, you get low on chips like that. He was on 500 odd chips. You don't be caught in 50, 100 when you've got 500 odd chips. You push them all in, and that's exactly what he did. And that way he gets the maximum return if he does. If someone does call him and he wins. That's the strategy to play. That's the right play, and that's what I said earlier on. He's a pretty good player. Apart from that, there's betting with those 50s, but it doesn't matter. The fact is, he's still in the tournament, and that's what you need to do. You need to stay in the tournament. It's a surviving game. You've got to survive. So you're one of the last 3 players. That's all you need to do. So hold on to your chip stack. Protect your chip stack. Now he's playing a bit loose there, he's took down another pot, so he's slowly building it back up. So let's I thought I wasn't sure if I was recording there, so quickly just double checked I was recording. Okay, so you put in a bet, ask the question. Muga can't afford to call. Can't afford to call. He's got to push him in. 555 chips now. I'm thinking to myself, shall I put him all in for King 10? Let's have a look at the flop, and hopefully hit something, and then I'll put him all in. Didn't hit anything. Yeah, now he's taking his time. If you're going to bet it, Muga, put all your chips in. If not, fold. Okay, she's checked it. So, you know, it's 100 chips in the pot. I don't care whether we win it or lose it here, really. I know the way Muga's playing, he's not got anything. I could put in a bet and scare him off. But, let's have a look. You know, when you're the big chip stack playing against a short chip stack, that's when you can bully. You can just put in bets, even if you haven't got anything. So here's Queen on the River. Okay, congratulations, take your 100 chips. You know, I don't care. As I said, you know, what I was trying to say was, you're the big chip stack, you're playing against a short chip stack. Even if you don't have anything, you can put in bets, because the short chip stack is only going to call you or push all in if he's got something. You know, he's waiting, you know, to double up. So, you know, you can bluff. You can bluff the short chip stacks by putting in big bets if you're the big chip stack, and that's known as bullying. You know, yeah, some people don't like the term bullying, but I'm afraid it's gameplay. It's part of playing poker, and that is the correct strategy to do, I'm afraid. So, you know, so where are we now? 9, 5 of clubs. I'm not interested. It's not a good starting hand. Let's fold. So we're halfway through the video now. I hope you did watch the first few videos. You know, if you just joined, I always recommend watching the videos in order. You'll see different examples of gameplay come up, different strategies used. You know, and it's just really just to show you viewers a poker game, and you know, if you're interested, you could learn a little bit of what I'm teaching, or you can just enjoy it. You know, like you watch poker on TV. It's quite enjoyable. Ace 4, that's worth a call. Probably not a raise. I don't like raising with a low kicker. And now look, there's 4 players after me, so I call it. I didn't hit anything, but I'm up against one player. Checked it. On a big chip stack, worth a bet here. Haven't got anything, but like I said, big chip stack against a short chip stack. He's only going to call me or re-raise if he's got something. Or he's a good enough player that he realises that it's a bluff, and then he goes over the top, and then I fold. Now, that's risky poker. It does happen, and that's also advanced poker. You know, a player bluffs you, and then you realising they're bluffing you, you go over the top as a sort of a double bluff, and they fold. You know, if you can do it and get away with it, great. You know, but if you're playing it with, you play these tournaments, these W money tournaments, using a strategy. Stick to your strategy. Stick to your game plan. I've got a game plan. I got lucky early on, but I'm still playing with my game plan. I'm calling or raising when I've got a good hand. I'm folding when I've got nothing. I'm checking and re-raising, asking questions, trying to nick pots here and there. And that's the idea. Pocket queens, good hand. Raise it. Now, is Alicante going to push all in? Because if he does, alright, so Bunican's pushed all in. Right, okay, so I didn't expect him to push all in, but my queens are good enough to go up against him. So let's have a look. Ace 5 against pair of queens. Oh, look, he's hit the ace. Queen on the river. You know, got a bit lucky, but it was the right decision. I could afford to call him. I want to take people out of the game. You'll see, Mud Shark. Sweet. Yeah, sweet. Hit the river. Got my queen on the river. It was a sweet. It was sweet. You know. Yeah. In my opinion and what I've been saying, both players. So I put in a little comment. Thanks, he was unlucky. You know. 10 ace suited. This is worth. This Muga, put your chips in because I'm going to call you. Now, look, 100 chips. Push them all in. I'm not having none of that. Push them all in. Alright, so it's cost them another 100 chips. But look, I've got a pair of 10s. How good do you think you are, Muga? Not good enough. I've got my 10s to back it up. And there you are, look, he's lost 200 chips. So he's still in the game, but what can you do? What can you really do with 330 chips now? You know, so you think you got a good hand, push them all in or fold. Yeah, so you can see I knocked a player out the game there, Boonicon. I'm saying he was unlucky. He was unlucky because he hit his aces. We're about 50-50, both going into the flop there. He hit his aces. So I'm beaten. His aces beat my queens. And the queen comes up in the river. A bit of luck, you know. I am having a lot of luck, as you can see. I don't mind people commenting and saying lucky, lucky, but do remember, yeah, I'm not just being lucky. I'm using a strategy. You know, I didn't have to call his all in, but being a big chip stack, I want to take someone out the game. You know, my pair of queens, I'm calling anyone who pushes all their chips in. So Muga's finally decided to go all in. Let's have a look. He's got nothing, you know. So ace 5 against ace king. So the other guy also didn't have anything on the flop, but Mud Shark had the bigger kicker with the king, and that's another one out of the game. So Mud Shark likes that. So let's have a look at the chip stacks. So you know, you always keep an eye on the other players' chip stacks. Alicant, you know, he's just about staying in. He's got just over 1,000 chips. Now at this stage, I'm under zero pressure. I've got a huge chip. You've got more than twice as many chips as the other players. You know, he's betting 150 Alicant. As I keep saying, you think you're that strong enough, push. Put all your chips in. If the other player calls you and you're that strong, you're going to double up. It's an interesting flop. There's a straight draw there. So now look, he's putting 150 chips. He wasn't strong enough, and now he's got down to 865. And that's why I talk about. So yeah, did the right thing there. Push him in. King 3's not good enough to call. But yeah, as I was saying, I'm folding. Most of the time now, I'm folding. Why do I need to call? You know, only one more player needs to get knocked out now. Let them bet it amongst themselves. Hopefully they, you know, try not to let their chip stats get too high, that or mine get too low. So you know, it's about managing your chip stack now, remaining the chip leader, hoping that one of the other three players here will go out, and then the other three will go through and double their money. So let's see how it plays out. It's a nice flop. He bets it. So what's he got? A flush draw, aces. He's on a straight draw. Let's have a look. You know, if you're that good, put in a bigger bet. Spanky's got nothing, so he folds. So let's see how it plays out. Now at this stage, who do you think's going to, you know, the way it's been playing, who do you think's going to be the next player to go? You know, if I was a gambling man, and obviously I am, playing cards, you've got to say Alicant. The way he's playing, he's putting in his bets, you know, he's risking his tournament life and things. You know, you're thinking, yeah, he could be the next one out. Well, let's see what happens. Now, I don't need to pay that with my pair of twos. Like I said, get out of the hand, let these players gamble it out. Alright, so he's gone all in. That's the right decision. Mudshark, you know, you're either going to call or you're going to fold. You know, you're that good. You know, is your hand that good? No, it's not. Fold, get out of the way. Now he's, look, Alicante's now 1,600 odd chips. You know, he's playing it aggressive. He's, you know, 1,990 chips. He's getting himself back up now. Alright, I'll play this. Come on, I don't want Alicant and building up his chip stack too high. Checked it. You got a pair of 10s, you're going to call a re-raise. No, you haven't, so get out the hand and fold. Because he's got 2,000 odd chips, he's playing it tight, and that's the way to play it. I've got a big chip stack, I'm going to play it aggressive, even if I haven't got anything like that. So, Yeah, 10-4 suited. I didn't like that. I couldn't call with it really. Didn't think it was strong enough to. It's definitely not strong enough. So fold, and unfortunately he keeps his blind. But the blinds are, 100, 200, going to be 100, 200 in a couple of seconds. So that's high enough that it's going to, players around me are going to be losing their chips through playing these blinds, paying for these blinds. You see the blinds have gone up now. So ace-8, you want to play against? No, everybody's fold round. I had ace-8, so if you did, I don't need to show my hand. You do get the option playing these, muck your losing hand, choose if you want to show what hand you had. I'm here to give you tips and advice, and I'll say never do it. Never ever show what hand you had. There's no point. Now all in, Queen 5 against Ace 9. He's hit his queen. He's in a diamond draw, and he's hit 2 pair with a 5 on the river. Spanky was winning that with his pair of aces. So I couldn't believe that. I put a little comment. Wow. Now look at Alicante. He's got 3,000 chips, and that's why push, build up your chip stack. Spanky's on. He's annoyed at that. He knows he has to push now. So how things change. It's a good win there by Alicante. Now Spanky's a low chip stack. Spanky. Well, I've seen funnier names. No, I've got nothing. Fold. Ace has come up on the turn. He hasn't got an ace. He's because I'm not reading that he's got an ace there, but he has. He's called it. What's he calling with? Has he got 2s or 9s? No, look, he didn't have anything. He shouldn't have been called in there. Mudshot's taking it down with his 2 pairs. Okay, gonna go up against me with my ace 3. I've got a pair of aces. What are you going to do? You're going to push, because if you are, I'm going to call you. Alright, you've got nothing. There's a flush draw, so I'm going to try and scare you off here. And you've called. Alright, so what are you calling? Okay, I'm going to put you all in. You're that good? You're going to... Okay, now you see, he's not that good. He was calling, and my aces, and this is how you should play it. If the player thinks they're that good, I keep saying they think that they're that good, they think their hand's that good. Is their hand that good enough to risk their tournament life? So you push them all in if you think their hand isn't, and then they soon fold it. And that's the way I play. I'm not going to let players call cheaply. If they're that good, I'm going to let them make a decision. Force them to make a decision. So it won't go away. He's 1,200 chips on the button. I can check it. I was really hoping to hit a king or 4s or something there, so I could push all my chips in and get one of these to call me and go out. But no, I haven't got anything. I'm on a straight draw actually. I need a 5. I'm not paying for 200 chips to see the river, to see if I can get a 5. Let these 2 battle it out. And there you are, Alicante's gone and in, Mudshot's called, and actually look, he had the 3 8s, he played it slow, and trips with his 8s that he disguised very well. He took down a good pot. Yeah, I mentioned disguised. Yeah, disguise your good hand, that's the way to play poker. So I think we're getting towards the end now. Spanky's gone all in. No, Alicante didn't have a good enough hand to call it. So I think just 2 more hands left. Yeah, Spanky's called, pushed. So ace 9 suited against pair of 5s. Mudshot hits his trips. unlucky Spanky. And there you go. Nice double up there. See you next time.